What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and in this video we talk about one simple trick that'll help you supercharge your OnlyFans chatting. That is whether you do it for yourself or you have a team that's working with you. I'm going to show you a trick and a tip that you can use to help improve your chatting and how to make more money. So I'm super fired up for this tip. I hope you're fired up. Let's do it. All right, so before we get into this video, I just wanted to say I do have my email below in the description box in case you do want to get on a call to find out how you can supercharge up your OF agency. As always, I will make sure to jump on the phone with you if that's what you want, but let's go ahead and jump straight in. All right, so we're here on the back end, and this is an old model that we used to manage, and the whole point of this video is to show you, let's say, for example, that you have either a couple different scenarios. Let's say, for example, that maybe number one, you're managing your account all by yourself and it's just you. Then it's pretty easy to be able to tell who's generating the sales. And I'm talking about from a chat perspective. So let's say, obviously, when you're doing OnlyFans, there's a couple different ways that you make money. And the couple different ways are with subscriptions. So you'll see that right here, there's a subscription price here. There's also a tips part where people can leave you tips for various different things. And then last, there's messaging. And this is where you're truly going to make the majority of your income, not your messages. So the majority of your income will come here in messaging, and it's typically about 80% of your income. Now, about another 15% will come from subscriptions and 5% for tips. It could be a little bit more lopsided than that. It could be a little bit less than subscriptions, a little bit higher on tips, but the majority of your income will come from messaging. And the way that that is generated is through a technique called chatting and or scripting. There's a lot of scripts that can be involved, and you will chat up your messages that you have on OnlyFans. You'll chat up your subs. You'll try to engage them in conversation and developing relationships, and then you'll try and get money out of them for your PPV, which is a pay-per-view material. It could be videos, it could be audio messages, it could be phone calls, it could be video chats, it could be anything like that, or videos in general. It could be any of that. So that's the major ways that you make money. Now, here's where it gets a little trickier. So that was a scenario one where it's just you and it's only you managing your entire account. So it'll be pretty straightforward. You'll see that they'll even divide it up into, you can see the subs and you'll see these sub prices, which are pretty straightforward. This is obviously a promotional one. So it's like promotional $7.50. Second month, it'll probably go up to $14.99. And $14.99 is the standard price for a sub for this particular model. However, she has some promos running. It seems like the main type of promo is $7.50. Okay, so you've got that. A second thing that you can do is tips. And tips can just vary. Somebody could just randomly feel quite generous, send it over to you, but it's distributed here. It'll show you how it's distributed through the platform right here. And then there's messages, right? There's also posts here, which I've never really used, and streams where you can make money on streams, which not a lot of the models that we use right now are experimenting too much with streams. That's more or less like the future. They're trying to engage and do things that is done like on TikTok and Instagram and things like that. And then there's messaging, right? And you'll notice that here it's pretty standard, 25, 49, 29, 29. This is for, it could be for a couple different things. It could be for one-on-one chatting, and then the model will begin to script. It could either be scripted by, she has a script from the management team, and or free scripting, which is basically her conversing and then randomly throwing things at the fan in hopes that the fan nibbles and starts to buy. So you'll notice that these prices are $25, $49. The other way that she can get people to nibble and buy things is through something called a DM blast. And it's nothing different than an email blast, but you're engaging with all of your followers, your fans, or people that used to follow you. So there's a lot of tools that you can use like OF Buddy and Super Creator that will refollow people that you've engaged with in the past, or your old followers and your old subs. So you'll see that these amounts can vary. So these can be from any one of those things. These here seem to be like more than likely a DM blast, just because there's a lot of multiple $25 ones as well as $49 ones. So here's where it gets a little complicated. So it's fairly simple to be able to determine how this happens when it's just you managing the account. But here's where it gets a little tricky. So pay close attention here because this is where it gets tricky. It's where, let's say you're part of a team. Now that team can either consist of you and maybe your friends helping you manage it, maybe a boyfriend, which is usually typically a fucking pain in the ass. I'll tell you what, a boyfriend helping someone handle their account, it's nothing different than having a pimp. I'm going to tell you guys that here right now. It's nothing different than having a pimp because the boyfriend's micromanaging this shit, right? A lot of that money is going into his pocket. So ladies, be careful if you got a boyfriend that wants to kind of get into this crap. He's trying to become a pimp. That dude ain't doing anything. You're the one that's taking your clothes off. You're the one that's doing all the work. And that motherfucker is a pimp. So remember that. All right. So you got a two-man team of some sorts, or you're starting to grow out your team and it's now two of you. Here's where it gets tricky. And this trick right here will help you be able to make some sense out of all this shit, and it'll help you be able to manage yourself better and understand who is really crushing this game within your team. And this is very important because this will tell you who to promote within your team, who to like give more money to, who to toss more money at, who to make it rain on in your team, ladies. This is what it'll tell you. All right, so pay close attention to this trick that we use. Here's the trick. That is, anytime it'll be like a shift, right? Let's say you're handling everything or your secondary partner's handling everything. What you always want to do, aside from the subscriptions, this is primarily for messaging, okay? This is for messaging. But again, remember, that's 80% of the earnings. What you want to do is you want to create a numbering system. So the way that'll work is anytime you send out a DM blast or you try to sell PPV to a customer, always use a number code so that you know that it was you. And that's primarily because OnlyFans doesn't have anything technical. So if you're not using a tool like Inflow, you can't tell who's made what because you'll have to monitor it by hand. So it's a two-part tip. The first part is use a numbering system. So what I mean by that is, let's say you've got let's say use your pimp boyfriend, all right? I'm just messing with y'all. Let's say you got your boyfriend, all right? You got your boyfriend and he's selling shit. He's chatting it up. He's a better chatter, and you're kind of wondering about his sexuality, right? Anyways, your boyfriend is sending out chats in pics of stuff to the fan. What you want to do is you want to have a number code for your boyfriend. So let's say you're selling a set of pics and you want it $49.99. Let your boyfriend be $49.97. You can be $49.77. So now every time you see a purchase, you know that you can categorize that as either you or your boyfriend made the sale. Yours is 77, his is 97. Just because he made 20 cents doesn't make a difference. What you're looking for is strictly the number codes. Second part of this whole equation is you want to write it out on a spreadsheet. So if your boyfriend says he sells something, have him put the date, have him put the amount, so his would be $49.97, and have him put the fee and the net. You can have him do that. You don't have to do that part. You could do that part later. And then when you sell something, again, have the date, have the amount. Yours will be $49.77 and so forth. Now you have it in two different spots. You can scroll through this and you can see every time there's a 97 cents and every time there's a 77 cents, and you're able to differentiate who was selling better. In other words, who's the better chatter, who's doing better things. So now you can go back and you can look at some of these messages and you can see what did they say to get these people to buy all this shit. And you'll notice that if you track this for 30 days, one of you will reign supreme like the damn Iron Chef. One of you is going to be milking mother, you know what, better than the other one, and you'll be able to tell who's better. Now, this especially comes in handy when your team starts to grow out. So now it's not just you and your boyfriend. Now it's you. Now you're starting to hire out a team, or now maybe somebody's helping you with this. Now you can have multiple number codes. So now it's not only $49.97 that your boyfriend sells, you're $49.77, but now maybe you've got a chatter at $49.87, and now you got a secondary chatter at $49.66. And now you can see exactly who's selling what. You could track hours, you could track numbers, you have this spreadsheet, and you can tell who is doing a better job chatting. Now we get together with them and we figure out what is it that you're doing that you're getting all these dudes to buy this crap. I mean, obviously, the majority of dudes that come on here are horny guys, so that's clearly, we know that, but somebody will for sure reign supreme, and you could be able to tell who that is by the numbering system that you've just created for yourself, and you're able to track all this crap and figure out how it goes, right? So that is my big tip for how to manage larger teams and how to really be able to tell who's crushing the game. That way you can start to see what is it they're doing and start to implement that and train all the rest of your team the way they're doing that. So that is how you discover who's doing and who's got their shit down and who is mad good at selling. So that is my tip for the day. And if you guys have any questions and or comments about that, or if you want to chat with me about how to supercharge your OF agency, my email is below. Send me a shout out. I'll be more than glad to jump on a call with you. But That's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.